We got a new filing by Donald Trump's lawyers in the New York criminal case where Donald Trump was already convicted of 34 felony counts. But for Donald Trump's lawyers, now that he won the presidency again, that conviction should be immediately dismissed. No sentencing should happen here. Nothing to see here, Judge. And if you don't dismiss it, it's because you're in the back pocket of Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan DA's office. You know where you are at? You're on the new Legal AF YouTube channel. I'm Michael Popak at the intersection. I just got my hot little hands on the new letter filing by Donald Trump's lawyers, soon to be Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and Assistant Deputy Attorney General Emile Beauvais. And they're telling the judge that he doesn't know what he's talking about. They can't believe the judge hasn't already, quote unquote, dismissed the case. First of all, they're already using the wrong terminology. You can't dismiss the case because this isn't a grand jury indictment. This isn't a prosecution. This is a conviction. This trial happened. This goose is cooked. You can't uncook it. They'd have to be moving for a motion to vacate the sentence under some sort of equitable grounds. Now they're trying to say that. They say in the letter that I'm going to read to you that there's an interest of justice here as grounds that you should throw out this entire case. It was politically motivated from the start. And you should throw it all out and don't even bother sentencing on the 26th of November. Now, look, the Manhattan DA's office led by Alvin Bragg, who successfully convinced with a beyond a reasonable doubt standard, 12 fair and impartial jurors in May in New York to convict on 34 felony counts. They properly laid this out for the judge a day or so ago in their filing. They said, Judge, extraordinary circumstances. The guy that we convicted is now going to be the president of the United States again. We convicted him about crimes that had nothing to do with him being president the first time, other than election interference. But now, before sentencing, he's president-elect. What do you do about it? And their position, which is the right one, is that this is a temporary condition. We should suspend for a moment. We should trap it in amber for a moment about Donald Trump because he's got not immunity, but he's going to be the president soon. And we're probably not going to be able to get through the sentencing process and the appeal process before he's actual president. So their recommendation is time heals all wounds. Or more to the point, time fixes the temporary immunity status of Donald Trump. But when he comes out the other side in 2029, he can step right into jail and sentencing. That was their argument. They told the judge, balance these two extremes. The interest of the public in the public justice system and to respect the process of the jury. Because if we could just throw out jury processes because people run for office, then what does that say about the sanctity and the integrity of our jury system? And they keep using case law, I'll read it to you, in their letter brief, Donald Trump's lawyers, that talk about a different part of a case. Different in the life cycle of the case. Indictments. This isn't a grand jury indictment. This is after that. Litigation. We're beyond litigation. They don't cite a case about post-conviction sentencing. That's where we're at. And that's the problem. And the case law they cite doesn't really help them. They keep throwing around big terms and big words like the Constitution demands it, the Presidential Transition Act of 1963, and justice. Whenever you hear that, you know they got nothing. And they cite cases out of order that don't stand for that right proposition to support their crazy theory. What do they want? Let me tell you. Like, Popak, get to the point. What do they want? Yeah. They want the entirety of the conviction thrown out. They say dismiss the case. That's code word for vacate the judgment of conviction. And don't sentence ever. To which the prosecutors say, why? Why is that the solution? Why isn't the better balance to postpone things, to allow for appeal on issues? We know we're not going to sentence before inauguration. Pick up with that again after he's president, right? He can be sentenced without him being there, but it would be nice if he's there. And then suspend the sentence until after he's no longer the president of the United States. There's a finite period. And now it seems like it's an eternity, but he'll be out in 2029. And then he can step right into a jail cell. That's sort of what they're saying. But here's what the lawyers for Donald Trump, soon to be Deputy Attorney General, the number 2 job in the Department of Justice, Todd Blanche, and his right-hand person, Emile Beauvais, they start and end the same way in the 2-page letter. Immediate dismissal of the case is mandated. And I leaned in like, yeah, based on what? the federal Constitution, which they never cite a provision of, the Presidential Transition Act, they never cite to a provision of that, and the interest of justice, that's the catch-all when you got nothing else to say. They start by making this politically motivated again. As DA Bragg engages in his own election campaign, he's a year away from running for office. The prosecutor appears not to be ready to dismiss the politically motivated and fatally flawed case. He can't dismiss. I know this guy's going to be maybe the attorney general one day, Todd Blanche, but you can't dismiss a conviction. You can have grounds to vacate it, but you can't just dismiss it. The jury already spoke and ruled. The judgment has already been imposed, right? He's a convicted felon. That doesn't just magically disappear like a magic 8-ball or a Etch-a-Sketch. Just go like this. Oh, done. We're erased. That's not how convictions work. It's hard to believe I have to explain this to the guy who's going to have the number 2 job in the Department of Justice. Well, he never was a local New York criminal lawyer. He was at best a federal practitioner. So they remind Judge Merchan that the DOJ is reportedly preparing to dismiss the federal case. Right, those are in the indictment stage. Those haven't gone to a jury. As in those cases, dismissal is necessary here. The Constitution forbids, and they quote from a case or a memo, a federal Department of Justice memo. We're in a state court proceeding. The Constitution forbids placing into the hands of a single prosecutor and grand jury the practical power to interfere with the ability of a popularly elected president to carry out his constitutional functions. How is sentencing him and suspending it until 2029 interfering at all in the 10 minutes it takes to do the sentencing? So that's not really going to work. Then they talk about the national interest in the public function of the president, citing to some cases that don't really apply. And then they say continuing with this case would be uniquely destabilizing on the bottom of page 2 and threaten to page 1 and threaten to hamstring the operation of the whole governmental apparatus. Any disruption could produce results detrimental to the safety and well-being of the United States. Anybody watching Donald Trump's cabinet picks, I think we can all agree that he doesn't really care about the safety and well-being of the United States and its people, not with the people that he's chosen. But I put that aside for a moment. Indeed, in Trump versus Vance on page 2, they say the prosecutor conceded an oral argument before the U.S. Supreme Court that the courts are empowered to impose a wide variety of limitations, including, if necessary, to shut an investigation or a litigation where the matter presents a real burden to the president. Again, they don't explain how sentencing him for something that already happened when he wasn't president is a burden, nor acknowledge that this isn't an investigation or a litigation. This is post-conviction sentencing. And then they asked for the December 20th time to fully brief this issue, which of course gets it over with full briefing over the inauguration, which has always been their goal. And then they end it with, this case must be immediately dismissed. The nation's people issued a mandate that supersedes the political motivations of New York's people. All right. This case must be immediately dismissed. Then it's signed, Todd Blanche. I always love this part. The very end there, he puts his address, and that is a Trump building on 99 Wall Street for the Blanche law firm, in case anybody missed that. Okay, what's going to happen next? The judge speaks next. He's got a reasonable recommendation by the prosecutors. He's got an unreasonable set of gobbledygook here by the lawyers for Donald Trump. I think he's going to set a briefing schedule. I think it's going to be somewhere between the 10th and 20th of December for full completion, or at least before New Year's Day. Judge will make a ruling. The loser of that ruling will take it up on appeal. I mean, they want to file by that time a motion related to public interest as being the grounds for dismissing or vacating the conviction and not going to sentencing. All right. I never heard of that before, but we'll see. All that has to go up on appeal. Once it goes up on appeal, it'll come back to Judge Merchan. Maybe it goes up to the Supreme Court of the United States. And sometimes in 2025, he can impose sentence. 1 year, 5 years. And we hold it, trap it in amber until 2029 when he serves the term. Done. No hurdles, no burden, no impairment on the presidency. None of that. That's what's going to likely happen. That's my view. Time fixes all of the problems raised by Donald Trump's lawyers. We'll continue to follow it right here. You're here already on the Legal AF YouTube channel. Hit the free subscribe button and follow me, Michael Popak, on all things Legal AF on the Midas Touch Network and here on Legal AF. Until my next reporting, this is Michael Popak, and I am reporting. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.